Good morning. Let's get started. Today we're going to identify the three types of plays and the authors who wrote them so that we can write an introduction speech for one of the authors of the three major playwrights of the era. The question of the day today is who invented the knock knock joke and what play was it in? What was the joke? So we got a three-part question today. All right. This is our agenda. So we're going to start with the types of plays, and then we're going to learn about the men that wrote them. All right, so let's go to Canvas. On the homepage, you're going to click on Assignments. You're going to choose Wednesday. And then we're going to start with The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly Satirical Truth. All right. So ancient Greeks took their entertainment very seriously. So there were three genres of play: drama plays, comedy plays, and satyr plays. The comedies were mainly satirical and mocked people who were in charge. They mocked their vanity and their foolishness. A lot of their comedies had happy endings. And the first master playwright was Aristophanes. Much later, Menander wrote comedies about ordinary people and made his plays more like sitcoms. These would be the satirical that mocked men in power would be a lot like Saturday Night Live. So kind of in that vein. And then we have the tragedies. The big themes were love, loss, pride, abuse of power, problems between the mortals and the gods. And usually it ended up with the main character committing some horrible crime and realizing that they were wrong. And so it was like a morality tale almost, where they had to come to realize that they indeed were the issue. The main three that wrote these tragedies, again, I pronounced the first one's name very wrong, and I'm very sorry to those people who speak Greek. Aeschylus, Sophocles, and Euripides. Aristotle argued that tragedy cleansed your heart, okay? And that was the experience of catharsis that we talked about yesterday. So when we did these tragedies, it was giving the people watching it an outlet to cleanse their heart of anything that they needed to purge from their bodies emotionally so that they could go and live better lives. They use these comedy and tragedy masks to depict the emotion clearly to the entire audience from the stage. So remember yesterday we learned that they use masks. Well, when you're using a mask, you can't emote. Remember, there's not a camera up in their face. There are 14,000 people in the stands. They need to be able to see, which is why the masks had built-in expressions. So if the character was a happy character or a comedy character, it had a huge smile, big cheeks. If it was a sad character, it had a big frown, sad eyes. Satyr plays were performed in between the acts of the other plays. So remember, we said that the act breaks allowed the actors to change clothes and to change masks and to get into a new character. Well, in between the acts, it was basically kind of like a commercial break. And they would perform these satyr plays, which were just outright silliness. Okay, so they were usually very vulgar. It usually contained half human, half goat figures, and they would come through the perioidi. They would do their little parade onto the stage, and they would make fun of people, and they would mock. So it was very, very silly. Like think bathroom humor, like when we say that about when you're making like fart jokes and stuff. It was a way that you could just kind of like relax in between the act breaks. Aeschylus is one of the most famous writers for these satyr plays. So each of the plays were told in different ways at the same time. So the story was told by the Greek chorus and it was acted out by the performers. But the performers did not speak yet. All right. These performers were telling the story using masks and gestures. All right. They weren't speaking words. The chorus was singing the words. All right. Thespis was one of the most famous and successful actors of all ancient Greece. And in his honor, all actors are referred to as thespians. In case you need a refresher, the video we watched yesterday is here. So this is a discussion. It is a graded discussion. In your own words, I would like you to describe each type of play. All right. And then I put some examples and some non-examples. So this is wrong examples. All right. These are non-examples. This is what it's going to look like when you just copy from the book. All right. So I used the type of play called a miracle play. So if I was trying to define a miracle play and I searched it on the internet, this is what comes up. All right. And so this is me copying from the internet, all right, which would be a textbook copying. This is a wrong answer, all right? Now, when I'm answering in my own words, that means I'm using my words and my brain to rephrase the definition. This would be a correct answer. So I used the textbook, I read it, then I put it in my own words right here. Okay, it says the same thing, but they're my words and my thoughts, and that's the difference. Okay, so when you do this, I want you to write the type of play and the reason it's important. All right. Which kind of Greek play would you most want to see? I would love to know. What's your opinion? Would you want to see a comedy, a tragedy, or a satyr play? And then tell me why you picked that one. From here, we would move on to the big three. This would be the Greek playwrights, all right? We're going to watch this video over the big three playwrights. Aeschylus is known as the father of tragedy, all right? And then this is why. He also, we're going to look at some of the plays that he wrote as well. Then we have Euripides. He was one of the first people to perform tragedies at the Dionysia, or the festival where they were performing. But he only won 5 of the awards, and one of them wasn't even awarded till after he died. Then there's a list of some of his most famous plays as well. Then we have Sophocles. So he was one of the greatest playwrights of his era, all right? And he is the one that wrote Oedipus Rex that we just read, or Oedipus the King. It is considered one of his greatest works. He also wrote some other plays, and Antigone will be one that we are going to read. So now you're going to do an assignment. You're going to pretend that you have been chosen to present one of these playwrights at the festival, all right? So what you're going to do is you're going to choose one of the playwrights, and then you're going to write a speech about them based on their biography on the previous page, okay? So you're going to pick one, and then you're going to write a speech about them. Here is an example of how your speech should be structured. Now, in my example, I used George Washington, but you're going to use one of these 3 people here. So you're going to have the first section about their personal life, then the second section about their career or about the writing, and then the last section you can focus on whatever you think is important about them. Okay, remember, this isn't like a silly speech. You are presenting them at the festival of Dionysus. with 14,000 people are hearing this speech, okay, people are probably recording you to put you on the internet on blast, cancel culture, that whole business. So make it good, all right? After you've written the speech, I think we all know where we're going now. I want you to perform it, all right? Now you are going to record your speech. Now you can record it with face cam, which is what I want, all right? But if you are absolutely painfully unable to do it, you may do it as a voice recording, all right? If you have issues with either of those two things, please contact me and you and I can work out another way to go about it. If you're just, I can't record or I can't do voice, please contact me. I will be more than willing to work with you. There are also instructions on ways to hold your camera while you are filming to make you look more professional. All right, so you're going to submit this to me and I will grade them. At this point, we would return here and I would ask you to explain who are the big three playwrights to me in the chat and one real world connection that you made today. I would have you rate your learning 1 through 4, and you would be released to write your speech and to film it.